Brainerd scored A versus Fergus Falls in the District 15 tournament. Potvin center ice. And on the left side, he's got Stewart there. Coming up the middle, Potvin. Not able to get the pass off. Marsh down in the corner to Stewart, behind the net. Stewart up the wall. Potvin not able to keep it in, and Fergus Falls. And on the left side, angled off by Marsh and Paskey. Fergus Falls still in the Brainerd zone. On the right side, centering pass. Doesn't land on anybody's stick. Shot from the point. Pad save by Churl. And out across the blue line. That was an offsides. Potvin, one-on-one. Cuts to the middle. Backhand shot. Goes just wide. Sorry. And puck out to neutral zone. Brainerd not able to keep it in. Thompson with it. Thompson across the blue line. Cuts towards the middle. Shot. Scores. Jackson Thompson comes off the bench. Picks up the puck and just takes it down and scores. Nice job, Jackson. Center face-off. Dumped in by Fergus. Thompson scoots it forward to Norris. Norris up the wall for Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer out to neutral zone. Tips it to Bible. Bible dekes a player down low. Tries to get it to the slot for Dahlheimer. Hits the side of the net. Fergus sends it up the wall. Norris is here. Norris walks the line over to Paskey. Paskey steps up, fires, and glove save by Fergus goalie. Face off in the Fergus zone. Sweet, McDonald, Henson with Paskey and Wheezy back on D. Sweet over the wall into the hands of the Fergus player. They clear it out to the neutral zone. Picked up by Paskey. Paskey fumbles it a little bit. Puck still in the Brainerd zone. Sweet tying it up in the corner. Paskey out to Henson. Henson across the red line, in on the right side. Henson cuts towards the middle, poke check, loose puck, picked up by Paskey, fired on goal, saved by Fergus. And Fergus comes away with it, heads down ice. Angled off the blue line by Paskey. They dump it in deep. Picked up down low by Wheezy. Up down behind the Brainerd net. Paskey steals it away. Paskey heads up out of zone. Center ice. Cuts towards the middle. Loses it as he enters the Fergus zone. Fergus sends it up the wall to McDonald. McDonald chips it towards the house. Swept to the wall by Fergus and out to neutral zone. Paskey with it. Over to Marsh. Marsh tips it in across the blue line. Picked up by Fergus. Fergus skating it out of their own zone. Stolen away by Norris in the neutral zone and poked off his stick. Fergus up the middle. Blocked by Stewart. Stewart sends it up the wall. Shot from the point by Fergus. Shot blocked by Norris and sent out to the neutral zone. Potvin and Stewart tying them up in the neutral zone. Back and forth on the wall. Fergus dumps it in to the Brainerd zone. Norris to Thompson. Thompson out to Marsh at the red line. Marsh scoots it in across the blue line. A poke check by Fergus brings it back out to neutral zone. Puck deep in the Brainerd zone now. Fergus with it behind the net. Stolen away by Marsh. They get it back. Centering pass through the slot. Trickles out to Potvin. And Potvin heads down ice. He's got Stewart and Marsh with him. Potvin up the middle to Stewart. Stewart's shot on goal. Saved by Fergus goalie. 10:47 left in the first period. Bible on the faceoff. Bates and Dahlheimer on wing. Paskey and Wheezy back on D. Bible, the Dahlheimer puts it in the top left corner from the left wing circle. Brainerd up 2-0 with 10:38 left in the first. Bible on the face-off. Fergus falls into the Brainerd zone up the middle. Poke check by Paskey. Puts the puck on the right wall. Wheezy sweeps it up behind the net to the far side for Bates. Bates off the wall out to neutral zone. Puck comes all the way down into the Fergus zone. That's going to be an icing. No, yep. Ref hesitant to blow the whistle there, but it's an icing. Got Sweet out now with McDonald and Henson. Potman and Norris on D. Or no, Thompson and Norris. Sweet wins the face-off in the Brainerd zone. Sent to McDonald on the near side wall. McDonald sends it out to center ice. To Henson, but Fergus got it. Fergus shot on goal up the middle. Rebound swept out to the point by Norris. And comes out to neutral zone. Fergus not able to keep it in. They got to retreat to their own zone. Pressure from Henson. They send it out to neutral zone. Picked up by Thompson just inside the Brainerd blue line. Thompson off the wall to Henson, just out of his reach. And Fergus sends it back. 1-on-1, Fergus versus Norris. Norris cuts him off. Nice D by Sam Norris. Out to Henson at the blue line. Henson across neutral zone to McDonald. McDonald up the middle. Shoot! And his shot is stopped by a defender. Puck in the left corner for Fergus zone. Fergus sends it out and down ice. Paskey back to retrieve the puck. Paskey up the middle of Potman, center ice. He stumbles, loses an edge. Fergus turns back the other way. They're offsides as they enter the zone. 9:36 left in the first. Brainerd up 2-0. Marsh drops it to Thompson. Thompson to Norris. Norris to Potman. Potman at the red line. Centers it to Marsh coming up the middle. Marsh defended. Drops it to Potman down low. Out to Norris at the point. Norris shot. Glove save by Fergus goalie. Nice shot there by Sam Norris. Face off in the Fergus zone, left wing circle. Marsh on the face off. Marsh tips it forward. Fergus with it. Send it up the wall. Norris dumps it back in deep. Marsh behind the net, tied up on the boards. He's knocked down. Fergus comes away with it. Norris not able to keep it in. Over to Thompson in the neutral zone. Thompson in on the right side. Thompson centering pass to Potvin. Didn't get enough on it. And Fergus sends it all the way down ice. Icing on Fergus Falls with 8:39 left in the first. Marsh. Fergus Falls wins the face-off. Send it up the boards. Kept in by Paskey. Paskey with two guys on him, not able to keep it in. Fergus pokes it across the blue line up to neutral zone. And puck tipped up out of play. Bible on the face-off, center ice to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer across the blue line. Poked off his stick as he tries to deke towards the center zone. Fergus heads out. In the Brainerd zone on the right side. Shot blocked by Paskey. Bible down low. Puck pops out to Paskey. Paskey heads out of Brainerd zone up the middle, center ice. Got Dahlheimer with him on his left. Paskey, backhand shot, pad save, and flicked out to the point. Bible bats it down. And Fergus steals it away. Fergus cuts in on the left side. Their shot from the point goes wide. Centering pass by Fergus, swept out by Wheezy. Wheezy with the puck now. Comes up the near side wall to Dahlheimer. Poked off his stick. To Paskey. Paskey chips it out across the blue line. Dahlheimer drops it to Paskey. Paskey. The far side for Stewart. Stewart just off sides as he steps in before the puck gets to him. Marsh, Potvin, Stewart with Hinson and Thompson on D. Marsh drops it back off the face-off. Neither Hinson nor Thompson got a stick on it. They had to retreat all the way back in the Brainerd zone. Cleared out. Center ice. Potvin not able to settle the puck. Puck center zone. Fergus zone. Thompson keeps it in, dumps it down along the far wall. Out to Thompson at the point. Thompson shot, hits a shin pad, and Fergus sends it out to neutral zone. Thompson comes back with a poke check. Thompson with it. Over to Hinson. Missed pass. Hinson sends it down deep along the wall in the Brainerd zone over to Thompson. Thompson trying to scoot it along the wall. Stewart picks it up. Stewart up to Potvin, left wing. Potvin down low. Backhands it to Stewart. Stewart shot. Saved by Fergus out to the point. Paskey, he fires it wide. Fergus down low with the puck, sends it out to the point. Norris sends it down the wall. Fergus with it again. Chip it forward. Fergus out to neutral zone. They hit in on the right side. Paskey's got him. Cuts him off. He stopped short out to their D. Shot about 10 feet wide. Ends up in the left corner. Centering pass intercepted by Paskey. And Paskey heads out of Brainerd zone. Chips it forward to Stewart. Stewart across the blue line. Cuts towards the middle. Shot. And scores. Center face-off. Sweet. Puck in the neutral zone. Fergus fumbles it. Sweet chips it forward along the wall. McDonald to Paskey. Paskey loses an edge. Sends it to the far side of neutral zone. Wheezy chipped it up along the wall. Bounces off a Henson's stick at the red line. Puck still in the neutral zone. To Wheezy. Wheezy to McDonald. McDonald in across the blue line on the left side. Centering pass by McDonald, intercepted by Fergus. Henson tying him up. Henson still with the puck. Down to McDonald. McDonald's shot and scored. Nice play, boys. Center face-off. Fergus in across the blue line on the right side. Shot on goal from the wall. Saved by Churl. 4:26 left in the first. Bible on the face-off. Out to the point. Fergus. Down the wall to the right wing. Tries a centering pass. Bible blocks it. Puck dumped in down low in the Brainerd zone. Out to the slot. Ends up on Dahlheimer's stick. Dahlheimer skates it out. Dahlheimer still pushing it forward through the neutral zone on the right side. Centering pass to Bible. Drop to Bates. And Bates loses the puck. Fergus chips it out to neutral zone. Thompson sends it back. Fergus sends it back out. Fergus dumps it in deep in the Brainerd zone. Norris to Thompson. Thompson to Bates. Bates stopped at the blue line. And Fergus scoots it down the wall. Bible to Norris. Norris up the near side to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer pokes it across the blue line, heads down ice, tries to center it to Bates, but intercepted by Fergus Falls. They're back in on the right side. Pad save by Churl. Shot from the blue line. Paskey to Marsh. Marsh up the middle to Stewart. Stewart with a breakaway. Cuts towards the net. Oh, and the shot just goes wide. Puck packs out to the point. Brainerd not able to keep it in. Popman over to Paskey. Paskey in on the left side. Centering pass by Paskey. And puck ends up in the right corner. Wheezy, shot from the point. Deflected down low. Stewart to Potvin. Potvin tries to stuff it in and covered by the goalie for a whistle. 3:04 left in the first. Marsh on the face-off. Potvin and Stewart on wing. Sweet and Wheezy. Sweet shot scored. Hugo Sweet from the left wing circle puts it in the top left corner. Marsh on the face-off. Potman, center ice. Over to Stewart. Stewart fumbles the puck, turns it over to Fergus. Fergus sends it out to neutral zone. Norris steals it away from the Fergus player. He's taken down. Penalty coming up on Fergus Falls, tripping up Norris there. Brainerd power play coming up with 2:31 left. We have Sweet with Henson and McDonald, Paskey and Wheezy on D. Sweet. Fergus wins the faceoff. Puck in the right corner of the Fergus zone. Up the far wall. Fergus skates it out, tied up by McDonald, stolen away. Henson sweeps it to the near side of neutral zone. Nobody there. The Fergus player. Henson picks it up, drops it Paskey. Paskey to Sweet, out of his reach. And Fergus sends it back out to the red line. Batted down by Wheezy. Shot from the blue line by Fergus. The pad save by Churl. Held for a whistle. Bible to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer skates it out. Dahlheimer. Puck stolen away before he enters the zone. Dahlheimer to Bates. Bates in across the blue line on the right side. loses the puck to Fergus. Fergus sends it up the near side wall, kept in by Norris. Puck on the left wall, Brainerd battling for it in the Fergus zone. 21 seconds in the power play. Fergus sends it out to the point. Norris, his shot goes off a shin pad. Fergus player has a breakaway. Thompson chases him down. They have to take a shot from up high. And an easy save by Quentin Turrell. Held for a whistle. 7 seconds left in the Brainerd power play. Marsh on the face-off. Stewart Potvin with Wheezy and Paskey on D. Marsh chips it forward. Shot from the right wing circle by Fergus, ends up in the left corner. Wheezy steals it away. Chips it forward. Stewart picks it up. Stewart across the blue line. Pokes it forward further deeper into the neutral zone. Fergus sends it out to the red line and into the Brainerd zone. Picked up by Paskey. Paskey behind the Brainerd net now. Sends it along the wall. Potvin. Fergus passes it into the slot. Puck loose in the slot. And swept down low. Wheezy sends it up the far wall. And Fergus player fans on it. Potvin races after it in the neutral zone. Chipped back the other way by Fergus. Wheezy to Marsh. Missed pass. Turned over to Fergus. Fergus puts it into the Brainerd bench. Out of play. Just 4 seconds left in the first period. Marsh on the face-off. Marsh. Marsh on the face-off to Thompson. Thompson over to Norris. Norris up the wall for Potvin. Potvin in across the blue line. Stopped at the top of the circle. Potvin dumps it in deep behind the net. Marsh battling in the corner. Marsh and Stewart. Thompson not able to keep it in. Fergus comes away with it. In on the left side. Nice back check by Thompson. Steals the puck away. Marsh on the wall, sends it behind the Brainerd net for Norris. Norris up the far side for Potman. Potman, center ice to Stewart. Stewart in on the left side. Potman cuts towards the middle. Stewart down low, centering pass, swept out by Fergus. Paskey picks it up. Paskey in the left corner, cuts towards the middle, loses the puck, gets it to Stewart. Stewart shot wide. Rebound ends up on the near side wall. Marsh backhands it, but turns it over to Fergus. Fergus gets it out to neutral zone. Stolen away by Marsh. Loose puck in the neutral zone, dumped in by Wheezy. Potman races in after it. Fergus clears it out to the point. Marsh keeps it in to Stewart. Stewart down the left wall. He's got Stewart shot, hits the post, ends up behind the net. Fergus tries to clear it out. It hits Potman. Out to Paskey. Paskey over to Wheezy, out of his reach. Fergus tips it out to neutral zone. Wheezy races back. Fergus in on the left side, deeks past Paskey, tied up by Bible. Nice D by Bible. Dahlheimer picks it up in the Brainerd zone. Dahlheimer into the neutral zone. Cuts towards the middle. Bates shot, pad save by Fergus. Loose. The puck was loose on the goal line after Bates shot, and then swept all the way out. Ref said no goal. Curd out to neutral zone to Bates, and out of his reach, icing on Brainerd. .12:47 left in the second. Bible to Thompson. Thompson sends it up the wall. Fergus intercepts, puts it into the slot, swept out. Shot on goal by Fergus. Save by Turtle. Face off in the Brainerd zone, right wing circle. Bible. Out to the left point, shot by their left winger, picked up by Thompson. Thompson to Bates. Bates fumbles it at the blue line. Fergus picks it up. They walk up the middle and shoot and score from the hash marks. Center face-off. Puck ends up deep in the Brainerd zone, right off the face-off. Fergus, tied up by Wheezy behind the Brainerd net. Donald races in to help. Sweet. Wheezy loses it, sends it up the wall. McDonald tries to center it to Henson. Kept in by Fergus. Henson chips it across the blue line. Fergus dumps it in deep. Picked up by Paskey. Paskey circling behind the Brainerd net. Comes up the far side wall. Pokes it forward. Into the neutral zone. Paskey still pushing it forward. Slapped back by Fergus. But McDonald gets his stick on it. Fergus heads into the Brainerd zone on the right side. Cut off by Henson. Wheezy up the far wall to McDonald. Fergus steals it away. Sweet to McDonald, sends it out to the point, kept in by Fergus again. Finally chipped out to neutral zone. Fergus sends it back in, a man off sides. Marsh on the face-off to Potman. Potman dangles with a Fergus player. Norris out to Potman at the center ice. To Marsh. Back to Stewart. Stewart up the middle. Shot deflected Up down low in the Fergus zone, tied up by Potman and and Marsh over to the left corner. Stewart sends it up the wall to Norris. Norris over to Thompson. Thompson steps up. His shots interrupted. And Fergus with the puck now. Skates it out. Fergus, center ice. They dump the puck into the Brainerd zone. Thompson picks it up. Thompson behind the net to Norris. Norris up the wall for Potman. Kept in by Fergus. Shot on goal. Stick save by Churl. He covers it for a whistle. 10:15 left in the second. Brainerd up 5-1. Marsh on the faceoff with Stewart and Potman on wing, Thompson and Norris on D. Marsh to Potman. Potman drops it to Norris. Norris sends it out of play. Faceoff back in the Brainerd zone, right wing circle. Weezy and Paskey come out now. Marsh over to the wall. Potman scoots it up the wall. Fergus slaps it back down. Paskey pushes it forward. Potman in the neutral zone. Fergus dumps it back in. Paskey spins off a defender. Up the middle to Marsh. Marsh loses it in his skates. And dumped back in by Fergus. Paskey digs it out of the skates of the linesman. Shot by Fergus from the right wing circle, goes wide onto the left wall. Kept in by Fergus. Stewart picks it up. He sends it out to center ice. Puck in the neutral zone. Weezy. Weezy to Potman, center ice. Potman off a skate. Intended for Marsh. Fergus sends it in across the blue line. Poked back out by Paskey. Back into the Brainerd zone. Paskey with it again. Paskey to Potman. Potman in on the left side, dumps it in deep. Puck covered by the Fergus goalie for a whistle. .851 left in the second period. Bible, Bates, and Dahlheimer with Thompson and Norris. Left wing circle, Fergus zone. Bible sends it over to the wall. Fergus sends it behind their net. Bates scoots it up the wall to Thompson. Thompson circles back down low. Thompson out to the point. Norris steps up, fires. And the Fergus goalie covers it for a whistle. Bible on the faceoff again. Bible out to Thompson. Thompson to Norris. Norris, his shot ends up deep in the Fergus zone. Fergus sending it up the wall. Norris walks down the wall towards the net. Centering pass. And Dahlheimer and Bates swinging at it. And it's poked in by Oliver Dahlheimer. Brainerd up 6-1. Sweet to Henson, center ice. Henson to Weezy. Weezy sends it back up the wall and turns it over to Fergus. Fergus, center ice. Henson pressuring. Sweet. Henson picks it up in the Brainerd zone. Drops it to Weezy. Weezy sends it across the zone, out to neutral zone for Paskey, or for McDonald. McDonald in on the left side, gets stopped at the top of the left wing circle, and Fergus tries to head out. McDonald, the back check, cuts him short. Fergus sends it all the way down ice, short of a icing. Paskey picks it up in the Brainerd zone, behind the Brainerd net now. Paskey picking up some speed, out to neutral zone. Henson on his right wing. Paskey loses the puck, out to the point. McDonald fires, batted down. Fergus flips it up, and Paskey bats it down out of the air for high sticking. Face-off come all the way back to the other end. 7:12 left in the second. Brainerd up 6-1. Marsh on the face-off. To Norris. Norris off. Shoots it out of play again. Face-off back in the Brainerd zone, right wing circle. Marsh wins the face-off again. Drop to Norris. Norris to Thompson. Thompson sends it behind the net. Norris sends it up the wall for Stewart. It's tied up just outside the blue line. Thompson with it. Thompson swoops it over to Potman. Potman, his pass hits the skate. Potman tied up in neutral zone. Fergus comes away with it. And I think they're going to, hooking penalty on Fergus as they took down Potman in the neutral zone. Brainerd power play. Face-off. Left wing circle of the Fergus zone. Marsh, Stewart, Potman with Wheezy and Paskey. Marsh. Fergus wins the face-off into the corner. Stewart and Potman tying him up down low. Fergus scoots it up the wall and sends it all the way down ice. Wheezy back for the puck. Wheezy loses the puck, picked up by Paskey. Paskey down low in the Brainerd zone. Sends it up to Bates. Bates races forward into the neutral zone. Chips it off the wall, but why is that offsides? The Fergus player carried the puck into their own zone while Bates was offsides. They called that an offsides. Bible on the face-off. Dahlheimer and Bates. Bible in across the blue line. Over to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer loses the puck. Turns it over to Fergus. Fergus skates it out. 1-on-1. Potman back. Potman angles them wide. They get a shot off the side of the net. Loose puck picked up by Paskey. Paskey scoots it forward for Bates. Paskey off the wall, in on the right side. Paskey heads towards the net. Drops it to Dahlheimer. And rolls off his stick, turns it over to Fergus. Fergus sends it out to center ice. Potman with it. Potman over to Paskey. Paskey to Bible. Bounces off his stick across the blue line. Fergus bats it back out. Fergus with another breakaway. Norris races in. Loses an edge. Shot. Saved by Turl. Rebound picked up by Norris to Bates. Bates to Potman, center ice. Potman over to Dahlheimer. Dahlheimer shot on goal. Rebound pops out. Potman fell onto the puck. Bible chips it behind the Fergus net. Comes out to the point, but Norris not able to keep it in. Brainerd has to reset. Hold on. Yep. Norris in across the blue. They're still saying there's offsides. What? Sweet, McDonald, and Henson with Thompson and Norris. Sweet just outside the blue line. Over to Henson. Tied up on the wall. Thompson to Henson. Fergus chips it out to center ice. in across the blue line. They're offsides. Sweet again. Neutral zone face off. Back to Thompson. Thompson to Norris. Norris up the wall to McDonald at the red line. McDonald scoots it in across the blue line on the left side. Henson out front. McDonald pushes it down behind the net. Sweet there with him. And Fergus sweeps it over to the right corner. Slap it up the wall, kept in by Thompson. Thompson over to Norris, lefty. Norris is tied up by two players, and Fergus sends it out to neutral zone. Picked up by Thompson. Thompson over to Henson. Behind him, it bounces off the wall. Henson picks it up in across the blue line. Henson circles towards the net. Henson shot, scored! Nice goal. Brainerd up 7-1. 3:44 left in the second. Marsh to Weezy. Weezy up the wall for Stewart. Stewart tied up at the blue line. Fergus back the other way. Fergus slap shot from the blue line goes wide into the right corner of the Brainerd zone. Paskey tying him up along with Potvin. Poked forward by Marsh. Stewart races over for it. Fergus dumps it in deep behind the Brainerd net. Puck loose and covered by Churl. Weezy takes down a Fergus player, slapping at the puck after the whistle. Yep, that was necessary. Fergus coach questioning whether or not that was necessary, but we'll slap at the puck after the whistle. Face off, Brainerd zone, left wing circle, Marsh. Fergus. Shot goes wide. Weezy in the left corner. Weezy to the far side for Paskey, tips it forward. Potvin picks it up. Potvin circling in the Brainerd zone, sends it center ice to Stewart. Stewart cut off. Puck stolen away by Fergus. Potvin steals it back to Stewart. Stewart up the middle. Loses it as he enters zone. Loose puck in the zone. Turned over to Fergus. Fergus heads back the other way. Weezy not able to get his footing. Shot. Pad save by Churl. Rebound over to the left wall. Stewart chips it out across the blue line. Sent back in by Fergus. They're offsides. Bible on the face-off. Dahlheimer Bates with Norris and Thompson. Bible back to Thompson. Thompson over to Norris. Norris fans on it. Loose puck in the Brainerd zone. Norris gets it back and skates it out across the blue line. Forward to Dahlheimer. To Bible. Bible. Shot scored. Sorry, Gunner, I don't know if I got your goal on film there. Puck center zone, or center ice. Drop to Norris. Norris up the far side to Dahlheimer. Missed pass into the Fergus zone. Fergus tries to clear it out, kept in. Puck behind their net now. They send up the near wall. Thompson picks it up. Thompson chips it on goal. Loose puck. Trickles through the slot. And Fergus clears it out to the point, kept in by Norris. Norris skates it down low. Norris still with the puck. Out to Thompson at top of the right wing circle. Over to Dahlheimer. He misses it, keeps it in, and dumps it in deep. Fergus player trying to kick it forward. Tied up by Bible. Fergus skates it out. Checked off the puck by Dahlheimer. Delayed penalty coming up on Brainerd. And it's going to be a body check penalty on Dahlheimer. As Brainerd goes to the box for the first time. Brainerd on the penalty kill for a minute and a half. There's only a minute 13 left in the second period. Brainerd up 8-1. Henson on the faceoff. Right wing circle, Brainerd zone. McDonald, Wheezy, and Paskey. Slap shot from the top of the right wing circle. Goes into the left corner. Dumped down low by Fergus. Fergus out to the right D. Henson. Pressure zone. Drop to Paskey. Paskey skates it out. Paskey up the middle. Paskey still with the puck and not able to control it. Ends up behind the net and then pops back out, covered by the Fergus goalie for a whistle. 48 seconds left in the second. Face off in the Fergus zone. Henson on the face-off. Thompson and Norris out now on D. Henson back to Thompson. Thompson dumps it down low. Henson to McDonald. Out to Norris. Norris deeks a player. Puts it in the slot. Henson shoots. Oh! And the goalie gets a pad on it. Rebound in the right corner. Fergus comes away with it. They bump McDonald off the puck. Fergus heads down ice. Center pass. Up the middle. Poke check by Norris. Disrupts the play. Nice defense by Sam Norris. Centering pass goes off Thompson's skate. Picked up by Norris. Norris sends it up the wall. Nobody there to keep it in for Fergus. Fergus has to clear the zone. Henson center ice. That's the buzzer. End of second period. Start of the third period. Not sure why they whistled play dead there. .14 seconds left on the Fergus power play. Stewart on the faceoff. Stewart chips it forward. Fergus sends it back to center ice, and they sweep it down into the Brainerd zone, picked up by Paskey. Paskey spins. Paskey up the far wall to Stewart. Stewart dangles over to Paskey. Paskey skates it out across the blue line and heads into the Fergus zone, chips it off the wall. Paskey still with the puck. Centering pass, deflected wide, behind the net. Potvin trying to tie him up. Fergus sends it up the far wall, picked up by Wheezy. Wheezy, centering pass, hits the side of the net, and Potvin chips it on goal. And it gets lost in the goalie's equipment for a whistle. .14 running clock with the 7-point lead for Brainerd. Marsh on the faceoff over to Stewart, out to Thompson. Thompson fans on the pass, dumps it into the left corner, picked up by Fergus. Fergus gets it out across the blue line. Loose puck. Chip to Marsh. Marsh still in zone, and Brainerd offsides. Is Marsh not able to get out fast enough? Marsh on the face-off. Potvin and Stewart on wing. Potvin drops it to Norris. Norris to Thompson. Thompson fires and it goes up over the net. Potvin scoots it on goal. It's covered for a whistle. Marsh to Paskey. Paskey shoots. Pad save. Rebound. Swept to the corner by Fergus and out to the point. Paskey dumps it back into the left corner. Marsh down low. Backhands it to Potvin. And this pass scooted into the corner. Potvin. This pass goes off a skate. Turns it over to Fergus. Fergus out across the blue line, over to the left wing. Wheezy steps over and chips it back to the red line. Marsh kicks it to Potvin. Potvin in across the blue line. And loose puck in the slot. Marsh shot goes over the net. Picked up by Fergus. Fergus sends it out to the point. Kept in by Paskey. Paskey dumps it into the left corner. Marsh down low. Over to Stewart. Stewart back to Marsh. Missed pass ends up in the left corner. Potvin ties him up. Marsh sends it up the wall to Paskey. Paskey scoots it down the wall to Marsh. To Potvin. Back up the wall. Fergus sends it out. Down ice. Paskey retrieves the puck in the Brainerd zone. Circles back. Paskey, center ice, up the middle. Over to the right side, shot, goes wide, rebound into the left corner, Henson. Bounces off Henson's stick out to center ice. Turned over to Fergus, up the middle, Paskey beats him to the puck as the puck slides into the Brainerd zone. Up the wall, Henson to Bible. Bible tips it forward to Dahlheimer out to neutral zone. Dahlheimer in across the blue line, left side, shot by Dahlheimer goes just wide. Ends up in the right corner. Henson. Henson's going to get a penalty here. They push the player down from behind. Henson still battling for it. Brainerd still hasn't touched the puck. And there's the whistle. Henson's going to go to the box for checking. .26 on the clock. Still running clock. Brainerd penalty kill for 1.5 minutes. McDonald on the face-off. Over to Norris. Norris down to Thompson. Thompson tries to clear it out. It hits a Fergus player and rebounds out front. Swept away and picked up by McDonald. McDonald stopped before he exits the Brainerd zone. Thompson sends it all the way out to the neutral zone, and it rolls down ice. Fergus with the puck. Up the wall, dumps it into the Brainerd zone. Norris with it. Norris to McDonald. McDonald not sure where it is. Fergus picks it up. Fergus from the right wing circle. Their shot goes high and wide into the right corner of the Brainerd zone. McDonald out to the point, shot on goal, and rebound covered by Churl for a whistle. Sweet on the face-off. Won by Fergus. Drop to their left D. Shot from blue line goes wide. And Paskey swoops in and steals the puck. Paskey skates it out into the Fergus zone. Poked off his stick as he enters zone. Picked up by Sweet. Sweet, his shot hits a player. And Fergus picks it up down low. They send it out to neutral zone. Paskey bats it down just outside the blue line. Paskey dumps it in. Bates races in after it behind the net. Bates with it. Centering pass by Bates. McDonald shot, save. Nice play. Brainerd back to full strength. Sweet with McDonald and Bates. Paskey and Wheezy back on D. Sweet over to McDonald. Picked up by Fergus. Fergus gets it out across the blue line. Poke check by Bates. Fergus picks up the puck again. Another poke check. Puck loose in the neutral zone. Fergus sends it up the far wall. And they get it across the blue line. Shot by Fergus from center zone. Goes into the right corner. Picked up by McDonald. McDonald, pass intended for Sweet, was behind him. Batted down. Shot from the blue line. Puck deep in the Brainerd zone. Wheezy and Sweet battling for it. Sweet comes away with it. Sweet. Across the blue line and poked off his stick out to neutral zone. Fergus heads back in, right side. Drop pass, blocked by Norris. McDonald in on the left side, shot from the inside the blue line, saved, rebound, loose out front in the slot, swept out over the right corner by Fergus, picked up by Stewart. Stewart spins back towards the net, poked off his stick. Stewart tied up on the wall with Marsh. Thompson comes away with it. Thompson heads towards the net, shot, scored from the right wing circle. What a nice shot by Jackson Thompson. Marsh to Potvin. Potvin scoots it forward across the blue line. Potvin tries to center it, goes off a skate, and turned over to Fergus. Fergus dumps it in deep in the Brainerd zone. Paskey picks it up. No, Wheezy. Back to Paskey. Paskey out to Potvin. Potvin with a breakaway. Deeks and scores on a backhand. Brainerd up 10-1 with 5:23 left. Stewart in on the right side. He's cut off the puck. Fergus with it. He'll send it back up the near far wall to Wheezy in neutral zone. Stolen off of Wheezy's stick. Fergus heads into the Brainerd zone. Paskey there. Shot from the left wing circle. Goes wide. Hotman sweeps it out to center ice. Fergus forced deep into their own zone. Try to clear it out. Paskey keeps it in. Paskey cuts towards the slot and shot. Glove save by Fergus goalie. Bible on the face-off. Dahlheimer Henson with Norris Thompson. To Norris, drop to Dahlheimer. He fans on the shot from the point. Gets it to Norris down on the left side. Norris dangles to Thompson. Thompson, shot on goal. Loose puck. And sort of covered for a whistle. Face off right wing circle. Fergus zone. Bible again. Out to the point, Thompson over to Norris. Norris shot goes off the side of the net into the left corner. Dahlheimer and Bible tying it up. And penalty coming up on Bible, looks like for maybe an elbow. Fergus dumps it on goal. And puck finally touched by Brainerd. That Bible going to the box. No signal from the ref. That penalty was. Looked like maybe an elbow or roughing, I don't know. Face off Brainerd zone. Brainerd on the penalty kill for a minute and a half. Fergus out to the right D. He steps up the middle, out to the right wing. Shot high and wide over the net. Rebound ends up on the far wall. Pass through the slot. Paskey gets a stick on it, but Fergus still with it. Shot. No goal. Turl with a diving stick save. Covers it for a whistle. Face off left wing circle. Bates. Fergus, right wing circle, tied up by Bates. And McDonald out to the right D. He steps up, not able to get a shot off, sends it to the slot. Wheezy sweeps it into the left corner. Wheezy up the wall to Bates. Bates, puck bounces. Bates not able to clear it out. Paskey races back, poke check by Paskey. Paskey with it. Paskey skates it out of the Brainerd zone, up the middle. Paskey cuts to the right side. Shot goes wide. Loose puck picked up by Fergus. They send it up the wall. McDonald not able to keep it in. And puck comes out to neutral zone. Fergus chip it across the blue line, but sent back out by McDonald. Fergus off sides as they try to enter the zone again. 1:48 left. Running clock. Sweet with McDonald and Bates. Brainerd back to full strength. Sweet to Thompson. Thompson to Norris. Norris to McDonald. McDonald in across the blue line. And stolen away by Fergus. Fergus, neutral zone. With Norris chasing after him along with Sweet. They get cut off at the just inside the blue line on the right side. Puck on the wall. Sweet drops it to Norris. Norris sends it behind the net to Thompson. Thompson up the far wall to Bates. Bates gets it across the blue line, but he's cut off by a Fergus player. Puck back in the Brainerd zones. Norris skates it out. Norris and McDonald. Norris cuts towards the net. Shot scored by Sam Norris. Marsh center face off to Potman. Potman turned over to Fergus. Fergus heads in on the left side. Angled wide by Weasley. They stop short. Shot on goal. Blocker save by Turrell. Marsh sends a rebound up the wall. Fergus dumps it back down. Back up to Stewart. Stewart out to center ice. And Potman's offsides as he stumbles. That's the game. Brainerd wins 11-1.